Yo, what is going on? Gotta check, make sure all the audio visuals okay. I'm Marcus, you're the channel, the Debt Free Dad. Yo, it's late as early as I don't know what. I don't even know why I'm on here. Well, I know why I'm on here this early. Because I saw an interesting story and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and talk about this now because I'm not gonna want to do it later on. And let me just, I was up. Your boy off tomorrow, holiday. So if you off, well, today's the holiday, so if you're off today, hey, get some rest, enjoy your time before you got to get back to it. But I saw an interesting story today about an Airbnb lawsuit, and I thought to myself, this is something that's ridiculous because one, it was funny as hell. Not really funny, it was funny and sad simultaneously, but it's an interesting financial nexus as always because litigation, hey, it costs to file it, it costs to go through the process. And at the end of the day, somebody is looking to get money from somebody else. And when a marriage is involved or a divorce potentially involved, you talk about somebody probably losing half of their assets. So we definitely going to talk about it. I will pull up the complaint and we just going to go ahead and go through it on the early morning tip. It's early, so your boy may be moving a little bit slower. It may be a lot more curse words because, hey, it's after hours, late night with DFD, so you already know how that goes. I'm always going to throw the disclaimer out there. I'm a licensed attorney in several places, but none of those places amount to me being your counsel. So if you're looking for legal or financial advice, find a professional in your area. Don't listen to talking heads on YouTube. Trust me, I'm gonna do a story this week about someone who writes financial advice columns who got finessed out of $50,000. So don't listen to talking heads on YouTube or anywhere. Always seek a professional. Do your own research and your own due diligence. Now, let's talk about what's going on with this Airbnb case. I'm gonna give y'all the short story before we dive into the complaint. And this is my real raw reaction because I heard about the story, but I never dived into the complaint, so I don't know the facts. Long story short, you got a gentleman who rented Airbnb. I believe it was in Tennessee, but I may be lying. I don't know. We'll find out when we go through the complaint. But you got a guy who purchased the Airbnb for however much money for 2 nights. Him and his boys were supposed to go watch a football game. Now, the host looked to be kind of sketchy because, as far as Airbnb goes, this host had a shitload of rules, like real meticulous, kind of petty rules. And I'm sure they'll outline those in the complaint. And in the event, after the guests checked out of the Airbnb, the host put in a request for some extra charges. I think it was over $900 of extra charges. These charges amount to having extra guests. I think they asserted that something was broken. So the guest, he was like, yo, I'm not paying this money. And he wrote a negative review about the Airbnb host. Well, the Airbnb host decided to retaliate by sending video footage or still image footage of this man going into an Airbnb at like 3 in the morning with his alleged side piece jump off on his arm. She's the Airbnb host. I said she. I didn't even know if it was a she, but I'm pretty sure we could all guess that. But the host sent the video footage of this man going into the Airbnb at 3 in the morning with a woman to his wife. Now this man is suing the host and Airbnb for a plethora of claims. We're gonna dive in and talk about it. Just on his face, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, right? I'm not saying that DFD is not condoning infidelity or anything like that. But I will say that's kind of petty. If somebody write a bad review about your Airbnb, you do the research to send the image from your Ring camera or whatever the hell kind of camera you got of this dude and some other lady to the guy's wife. That's kind of crazy and that's kind of wild. And just hearing it on his face, I can already think of a legal recourse that a person could take. But let's dive into this complaint, see what is going on here. We're gonna get into it. Let's pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up so we can get everybody to see it. So it's big on the screen. All right, Sean Mackey is the plaintiff, and the lawsuit is against Airbnb and Pamela Fowler, who is the Airbnb host with the annoying rules. All right. Plaintiff is a preliminary statement. Plaintiff is a frequent user of various Airbnb hosting services. As alleged below, Airbnb and Folder conspired to extort sums of money out of the plaintiff in violation of federal RICO, federal and state extortion statutes, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Interesting claims. The defendant engaged in this conduct in bad faith, knowing that their actions were contrary to applicable law, reasonable commercial standards of fair dealing, and the reasonable expectations of consumers of Airbnb services and products. Hey, on its face, I'm agree with that. One thing that you know in this law game when you go through law school, innkeepers, people who have like innkeepers, bed and breakfasts, they are held to a higher standard in some instances. Furthermore, the defendant's actions constituted an intentional act to invade privacy of the plaintiff, to inflict upon him emotional distress, and subject him to public ridicule and specifically damage his marriage. Like, okay, we could toss that around. Uh, I don't know if they. Well, yeah. Both of y'all damaged y'all marriage, but we'll dive into that later, and I give my take as to. I'm not telling y'all what to do if you want to go in the infidelity side of the game, but I could definitely read this and probably tell you what not to do. All right, in furtherance of this scheme to extort monies from the plaintiff, defendants formed an associated in fact enterprise for that purpose and engaged in a pattern of racketeering activity which consisted of the commission of two or more predicated acts over a period of 10. This is interesting. Interesting. Let me scroll through. We're gonna scroll through this. Okay, the parties. Plaintiff Sean Mackey is an adult resident of Madison, Mississippi. Defendant Airbnb Corporation headquarters in San Francisco. Yep, makes sense. Defendant Pamela Fowler is an adult resident located in Bartlett, Tennessee. Ford owns a home in Memphis, Tennessee, and from time to time utilizes the services of Airbnb to rent her home out to guests as a bed and breakfast. She is considered by Airbnb to be one of its super hosts. Superhost. What is that? Let's go down to the subtitle. I mean, the footnote. A superhost is a host who has a special relationship with Airbnb, and Airbnb endorses them as a host that is outstanding and one that goes above and beyond their hosting duties. Interesting. Now, why is Airbnb in the lawsuit? And this is interesting because it poses an interesting question. I guess the legal question would be if you have an Airbnb or if I'm utilizing Airbnb to rent out my place, am I an employee of Airbnb or am I an independent contractor? I would lean to the side of I'm an employee because normally there's a test. There's a test that they do to determine if you're an employer versus a contractor. They look at how much do you control the acts of the employee or contractor? The more control you have over the actions and how they can move, the more likely that they're an employee as opposed to a contractor. So, just on his face, I'm telling y'all right now, I'm leaning on the side of employee, but that does pose an interesting legal question. Let's dive back into this complaint. Jurisdiction and venue, we're going to go over, we're going to bypass all that and we're just going to scroll up to note that this case is filed in the United States District Court, federal lawsuit for the Southern District of Mississippi, a civil lawsuit seeking monetary recovery. Now, here we go. This is the juicy part. The underlying factual allegations. We're going to find out why this Airbnb host sent the picture that's on the thumbnail of this guy and this girl hugged up on him like a book bag to bro's wife. Okay. In July of 2022, plaintiff who lives in Madison, Mississippi, made plans to attend the football game in Memphis, Tennessee. The date of the football game was for the weekend of September 9th through 11th. He had originally planned for 4 people to stay with him, but he wanted to have a place where he could invite additional friends over. Plaintiff had been told by an Airbnb home. Plaintiff has been told of an Airbnb home that would serve as a favorable location known little bit more country. The address for little bit more country was 3780 South Berlinwood Cove, Memphis, Tennessee. Plaintiff contacted defendant Airbnb through its website. Through this website, he was put in touch with the owner of the house, Pamela Ford. At this time, the defendant made online reservations. He did so from his home in Mississippi. The fact that the plaintiff was a citizen of the state of Mississippi was made known to both Ford and Airbnb. Defendant 4 was and still is a superhost for Airbnb. On July 19th, 2022, the plaintiff made reservations to rent Ford's home for the weekend of September 9th through 11th, 2023. The reservations were made for 4 people, and at the time, plaintiff made clear to Ford that additional guests would be having dinner at the home that night but would not be staying. Ford acknowledged that additional guests would be invited to dinner, but voiced no objection. In fact, Ford explained how easy it would be to simply add them to the guest list once the plaintiff was certain who would be coming. The advertised booking stated that the home could accommodate up to 12 guests. Now, I'm telling y'all already, this is this should be ruled as a motion for summary judgment. I explain that a little bit later on the back end when we get through it. But so far, so good. The guy got his Airbnb. He want to go to the game. Yo, it hold 12 people. I may bring some extra friends over, but they ain't gonna stay the night. The host was like, okay, bet, cool, no problem. So far, so good. I like how they subtitle this, The Setup. On September 2022, Fowler confirmed the reservation and gave the plaintiff instructions for check-in. Even though the reservation was for 4 guests, Ford again expressly acknowledged that additional guests were welcome and stated you, the plaintiff, may update the guest count at any time. Also, in the communication dated September 7th, 2022, Ford left instructions for where and how the guest car should be parked. Nowhere in the instructions was any limit placed on the number of cars that could be accommodated. At this time, defendant 4 went out of her way to inform the plaintiff as follows. And this is an actual quote from communications they had. Please note Airbnb requires us to inform you of the following. There are additional charges, penalties, and fines for violating any house rules. Please be aware by creating a reservation or booking or checking in. You agreed to this without any stipulations. You are confirming you've read the house rules and understand them in full. At 4:02 p.m. on the afternoon of September 9th, 2022, the plaintiff checked in. Thereafter, typo. Thereafter, at 6:08 p.m., plaintiff, true to his work, updated the guest list as follows. The reservation said we could have up to 12 guests. Some of those included Stacy, Carol, Ursula, Kim, Tony, Marlon, Twinsis, Daryl, Darius, and maybe a few more. Only 4 to 5 will be staying overnight. Okay, so far everything appears to be consistent with what was in the advertising of having 12 guests, updating the guest list and all that. But remember, this is just a complaint. We haven't heard the defendant Ford's or Airbnb's response yet, but I would be shocked if they disagree as to any of these facts. Very soon thereafter, at 6:18 that night, Ford informed the plaintiff for the first time that only 8 guests would be permitted at the residence. Okay, here come the switch up. That's why they called it, what he entitled this section, The Setup. So she said it was 12, then she switched it up and said 8. I'ma just be upfront. I don't know about y'all, but I stayed in the Airbnb a few times. If I'm in an Airbnb and somebody like has like rules that are like overly crazy, I'm probably not going to get that Airbnb, like if just or if they got something like, hey, please note like external surveillance and this mad cameras and all that stuff. I don't know. It's just that you want to feel like, what do you think? Somebody gonna go in there and wreck your house? I mean, people probably do that. But the whole point of staying somewhere is you want some privacy, some anonymity. And if you got crazy ass rules on the front on the jump, it's gonna make me sketch just off the break. I'm gonna be like, I don't know if I want to even deal with what could potentially come from this. All right, let's jump back into this complaint. All right. Foyle stated for the first time that there would be an additional cost for each guest, whether they spent the night or not. She also reinforced her strict no parties rule. I don't even know what a no parties rule is, okay? Because I need to know what the definition of a party is. Like for me, a party is like having a DJ. Like if I invite 8 people over and we having dinner and watching the game, that's not a party. So I need more explanation on what the no party rule is. Let me see. Do they got a no party rule 8? See Exhibit 2. Hold on, real quick. Let's see if they got the exhibits attached. Nah, they don't have the exhibits attached. It's probably just the copy of that communication. All right, let's go back to the no party rule. The setup, Ursula Kim. All right, here we go. She also reinforced her strict no parties rule. How do you define a party? A few moments later, at 6:27, Fowler imposed an additional new rule. Here she go, adding rules allegedly. The rule that only 4 calls would now be permitted at the residence by the plaintiff. At 7:13, Ford demanded that the plaintiff either add the extra guests now or have them leave immediately. She also made unfounded accusations that she had received complaints of yelling and profanity in the parking area. Yeah, that's cap. That's probably cap. I don't know. Like the way this is going with the addition of new rules, this lady kind of sound like a pain in the ass, in my opinion. Even though this is allegedly, this is all allegations. But yo, she sent the picture of this dude and a chick to his wife. So I don't know. She already striking me as petty as I read this complaint. At 7:13 p.m., Ford demanded that the plaintiff either add the extra guests now or have them leave immediately. She also made unfounded accusations that she had received complaints of yelling and profanity in the parking area. Several minutes later, not several minutes, but yeah, several minutes later at 7:31 p.m., Fuller accused the plaintiff of violating the no party rule of having unauthorized guests and disturbing the neighbors by yelling and cursing in the parking lot. No party rule. When you have an Airbnb host who got a shitload of petty, stupid ass rules, you need to find a new place and reserve a new place or just go to a hotel. Because I don't know how you can define a party. How do you define a party? Like for me, a party is like 20 people, a DJ, a party and a get together are two different things. 8 to 12 people could be a get together, especially if they having dinner like this guy asserts. All right. She accused the plaintiff of violating the no party rule, which we don't know how she defines a party, of having unauthorized guests. She said he could have 12 in the original posting. Then she later on called back allegedly and said you can only have up to 8 and disturbing the neighbors by yelling and cursing in the parking lot. At this point, Fowler demanded that the plaintiff and his guests immediately leave the property. In fact, none of this was true. Instead of the additional guests initially listed, only one additional guest had actually shown up for a total of 5 guests at the home. No party had taken place. No one had been yelling or cursing in the parking lot. These were simply pretexts for the host and Airbnb to collect more money from the plaintiff and others similarly situated in the forms of fees and fines. And Airbnbs are getting expensive as hell, like way more expensive than hotels. The CEO of Airbnb actually put out a note maybe a couple of months ago, a letter to Airbnb hosts saying that they should actually start considering removing fees because they can't compete. And states is kicking Airbnb in the ass by taxing them 3 or 4 times more than what a normal rental tax rate would be for income gain. So, Airbnbs, people are struggling with those. All right. Upon receiving of this communication informing him that his stay was so abruptly terminated, and I'm gonna just be honest, from this complaint, this completely sounds like a woman or a person who would send a picture of an Airbnb guest doing something that looks sketch to their significant other, just from this complaint. All right, let's jump back into it. All right. Upon receiving of this communication informing him that his stay was so abruptly terminated and having nowhere else to go, the plaintiff called to speak to the host directly. She had previously provided the plaintiff with their telephone number. Upon calling the number he had been given, plaintiff spoke to Fuller's husband, Jamie. As fun speaking with Jamie, everything calmed down, and plaintiff assured Jamie that no party had taken place, that only five people were present. Likewise, Jamie assured the plaintiff that he could continue to stay without further consequence or interruption. All right, so it looked like, looked like, according to this, allegedly, it looked like the wife was on edge, violating rules, wanted to charge this dude some extra fines and fees. Husband Jamie answered the phone, or significant other, whoever, however you want to say it. Well, it said husband, I think, right? Yeah. Jamie answered the phone. Jamie was like, "Yo, let's just go and get through it. It's only 2 days." Guest was like, "Let's get through it. It's 2 days. We not over here wilding." So it looked like everything was on the up and up. The following morning, Saturday, September 10th, 2022 at 8:56 a.m., defendant Pamela Ford through the Airbnb portal stated, "I hope you enjoyed your stay here. Here are your checkout instructions. The checkout date is September 11th by 10 a.m. Please strip your bed you slept in and leave the linens and all used towels on the bathroom floor. If you use any plate, pots, pans, utensils, please load them in the dishwasher and start the heavy side." You know what? She already got too many goddamn rules. It ain't no way I'm doing all that. Like, yo, that's your job as an Airbnb host to clean. I've never stayed in it. I stayed in an Airbnb like 2 times. And the 2 times I stayed in one, the host, yeah, it's late night hours, sis. I wanted to get this story out because this story was kind of wild. But yo, shout out to the homie Lisa J Stocks. Y'all go check out her channel. Great FinTuber finance content. She always giving game. Let you know how she making the extra money and saving and doing all of that good stuff on the investment side of the game. So definitely had to plug her. But I don't know. I've never stayed at an Airbnb where the host was like, "Yo, when you done, clean the dishes and put them in the dishwasher, then put the linen in the dryer and start the cycle." Like that's fucking crazy. I wash the dishes because I hate nasty ass dishes, so I will wash the dishes. But this Airbnb guest, she had too many rules on her ad for me, and I can tell from this complaint that this was going to get ugly real quick. All right, let's jump back into it because I want to know how I got to the point of his wife getting these videos. All right. If you use any plates, pots, and pans and utensils, please load them in the dishwasher and start the heavy cycle. Too much work to be asking. And you expensive as it. He was paying 500 something a night, I think. You can find the dishwasher podge underneath the sink. You may want to check that you have collected all of your belongings. Don't forget to turn off the lights, lock the doors. We're with you. Safe travels on your journey. Okay, fair enough. She sent that through the portal. It looks fair enough. Asking for too much shit for DFD to do, but I wouldn't stay there. I tried to stay at an Airbnb once, and the host was mad racist. I was like, man, that's kind of racist. You know, like black folks staying at your Airbnb. It was kind of wild. Absolutely no mention is made about any additional charges for any additional guests, additional cars, parties, or fines or fees for any violations of any rule whatsoever. That night, let's see. That night, after being assured that everything was fine and that checkout was the following morning of the 11th, the plaintiff and his guests ate out at another location. When a plaintiff returned to the property to spend the last night there, he was denied entry because the locks had been changed. That's that bull. Hey, these are just allegations in the complaint, but I don't think that they're gonna argue that they didn't change the locks. You know what I mean? That's a fact that's probably not gonna be contested. And that's that bullshit. Yo, he showed up. That's crazy. The plaintiff returned to the property to spend the last night there, and he was denied entry because the locks was changed. The plaintiff then once again contacted Ford to regain access to the property. The following morning, The plaintiff and his guest checked out of the property in accordance with the agreement. Okay, so they let him in with the host. At the time of checkout of the property, the plaintiff, who had broken no rules and had spoken to the host, thought all issues had been resolved as a simple misunderstanding. The review. All right, let's check it out. Immediately following his stay at Ford's Airbnb home, the plaintiff posted a review expressing his concerns associated with this stay. I think that's fair. The plaintiff also requested a refund of $502. It was denied. So I think that was the nightly fee. After the posted review, Ford began harassing the plaintiff about his review and was obviously concerned with her Airbnb superhost status. Uh-oh. So Superhost, you may get priority bookings or something like that. First, your places may get shown as a priority to guests as they come look for places. So it got to be some monetary benefit. That's why she's concerned. Airbnb removed the plaintiff's original review of his dissatisfactory experience. The shakedown began. These subsection titles are fucking hilarious. All right. Now here where we get to the juicy part, because I gotta know how this video image. Let me go and pull this up too so we can show it. Cause I was like, I gotta we got let me pull this image up. I put it in the thumbnail, but let's see. Airbnb host sues over picture to wife. Let's go and pull these images up real quick. Let me, man, why that image so small? Trying to find a good image. A good image. We'll get to it. Let's get through this complaint real quick. Let's get through this complaint. Oh, hey, I'm telling you, man, this story crazy, man. That's why I was like, I gotta look at this lawsuit to see what's going on. A couple of things he arguing sounded like some BS to me, but this story wild. And at the end of the day, yo, fellas, if y'all, fellas, ladies, anybody, if y'all out there doing dirt, just go to a hotel the way God intended, with multiple entrance and exit points. All right, I digress. Let me get back to the story. I'm not trying to give y'all a game or how to finesse on the infidelity side of the game. All right, the shakedown begins. On September 14th, 2022, Airbnb commenced the shakedown. Charles from Airbnb contacted the plaintiff by way of the Airbnb portal and informed the plaintiff that Airbnb had become aware of a dispute between the plaintiff and Fuller, and that Airbnb would be conducting a review of the incident. That means they probably ain't gonna do shit, uh, in my personal opinion. It's funny too because I was explaining this story to my wife, and she was even like, "That's fucked up." We're not saying the infidelity allegedly is a good thing, but like, yo, it got to be some. It got to be. Hey, as a business owner, when you take a person dollars, they have some reasonable expectation of privacy, but that doesn't always happen, especially if it's like a disgruntled person, a disgruntled individual you dealing with, you might have a problem. All right. Charles, who claimed to be neutral, went further to inform the plaintiff that during the pendency of review, the plaintiff Airbnb account would be suspended. No mention was made as to any suspension or similar acts being taken against Fowler during the time of the review. Again, bullshit, but it sounds a little sketch. The following day, September 15th, 2022, Charles informed the plaintiff that his account had been paused for 30 days and threatened to terminate his account if he failed to follow Airbnb community standards. Plaintiff inquired as to whether any similar action was taken by Airbnb against Fowler. No indication was given that any such punitive action was ever initiated against Fowler. All right, the extortion attempt begins. Now they about to try to get him out of some paper. Like, yo, you gonna give up this paper, or your wife gonna see you going in there getting ready to allegedly. All right, 2 days later, on September 17th, 2022, Airbnb co-conspirator. I like the way he put that. Fowler contacted the plaintiff directly by way of interstate text message and sent the threat which constitute a portion of the extortion attempt. Oh man, this is interesting. Hello, Sean. Hope you are well. Sorry it took so long to get the photos you requested together to show your stay at our home. But I had faith, was driven by integrity, so I committed to get these posted for you in Airbnb. Photo at 3:16 a.m. was is especially notable. Should I forward the photos and videos to Teresa, the plaintiff's wife, or will you? The video will come shortly. I think they are too big for text, so I will post to YouTube. Have a wonderful weekend. Bruh, like, hold up, yo. That's hold up. That's petty as hell. Like, and can I just be honest? All right, this is just me, okay? Hey, don't kill it. I'm sure it I don't know. I can't see any reason why someone would do that. Unless you're just extremely bitter and disgruntled. Oh no, I froze up back. Let's see. No. Uh-oh. I'm struggle streaming early in the morning. Now I gotta see if I can get this thing back and get this thing back together here. Let's see. Man, I'm out here struggle streaming. My stuff froze up because it's all late on the late side of the game. Let's see. All right, there we go. Woo, boy, your boy struggle streaming early in the morning. All right, but that's fucked up. That paragraph. Let's go back to that paragraph real quick because that was petty as hell. And I don't know, man. Like, if it was just a guy who had this Airbnb, you think the guy would be like, "Hey, bro, I'm gonna go ahead and send these to Teresa." Oh man, I don't know, man. That lady, she got some underlying issues that she need to deal with. But this is the extortion attempt. Let's go and repeat this because this is important. This is the text message sent by Fowler to Sean, uh, Mr. Mackey, who was the resident residing in the Airbnb. Hello, Sean. Hope you are well. Sorry it took so long to get the photos you requested together to show your stay at our home. But I had faith, comma, was driven by integrity. Soon as she put was driven by integrity, that means you about to do some low shit. That's like when somebody say, all due respect, whatever they about to say after that is disrespectful. Or they say no disrespect. Or like, yo, I'm not trying to be rude, but they about to say some rude shit. Anytime somebody write like that, they about to you know they about to show a lack of integrity, in my personal opinion. But I had faith was driven by integrity, so I committed to get these posted for you in Airbnb. Photo at 3:16 a.m. is especially notable. Should I forward the photos and videos to Teresa, the plaintiff's wife, or will you? The videos will come shortly. I think they are too big for text, so I will post to YouTube. Have a wonderful weekend. Emphasis added. Now, I get a few things from this. I got to talk about this real quick. I get a few things from this. Maybe this is just me, but if I'm running a property with my wife, and I have been before, me and my wife running an Airbnb, not an Airbnb, but we got rental properties. If I'm running a property and something like that happen, like I don't know, like maybe this is just me, but I'm gonna hold this against. I got to give the husband Jamie a little bit of like, come on, bro, like, hey. And it's not because it's a guy; it's just the overall invasion of privacy. I think when anyone goes to an Airbnb, a bed and breakfast, you have a reasonable expectation of privacy. That means that, yo, whatever I do here, unless it's illegal or I'm breaking your shit up, it should stay here, in my personal opinion. That's crazy as hell. That Airbnb host must have been Monique. Nah, man, she had some bitter things going on in her past, man, to want to do that. That was low. That was jacked up. But that was the shakedown right there. Let's get back to the complaint. All right. Appended to the text messages was a photograph depicting the plaintiff in the company of another female, not his wife, taken by one of the cameras at Fowler's home. Now, hold on. Let me go ahead and get this image up real quick because I know I got this image saved. Let me pull the image up. Then we're gonna jump right back into it because I got the image because I needed it for the thumbnail. So let's go ahead pull it up. We gonna let's see. Let's see if I got this. All right, here you go. Let's see if we can pull this image up here. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna stop that screen. I'm gonna share another screen so we can take a look at this image that was sent. All right. Oh man, why so? We're gonna have to zoom this thing in real quick. Let me see. That. Yeah, there you go. Okay, all right. Before we even get back to the complaint, let me get y'all opinion on this photo. Now, okay, I hey, I'm a straight shooter. Okay, I call it a strike a strike. Hey, if it wasn't in the strike zone, hey, I would call it down the middle. All right. There's a couple of sketch things going on here. We're just gonna talk about not even the complaint. We're just gonna move to this picture, and if is this picture sketch, and if you receive this as a spouse, should you be mad? The very first problem is 3:16 a.m. 3:16 a.m. is it's just a bad look. I can go on the record and say unequivocally that any female who ever came to a place that I resided at who wasn't related to me. So any female who I've known who came to my place past 11:30 p.m., it might have been going on. So the time is the time is definitely a little sketchy. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that she had to use the bathroom. I don't know. At the time, look a little sketch. Okay. All right. The other thing is like she is kind of close. I was like, man, is she arresting this dude or something? She looked like she trying to put him in handcuffs. So hey, I definitely get that. Now I can see why Teresa, shout out Teresa, you the only person who appeared to not have done anything in this particular fact pattern. But I can see why Teresa would probably look at this and frown upon it, uh, but I'm gonna tell you right now, the attorney in me, I need to see all of the facts. Like, nah, I feel like if you're gonna extort somebody and blackmail them, like what's being alleged here, you need to send the picture at 3:16 right here. Then I need to see the picture when she left. Then on the picture when she left, I need you to zoom in on her lace front so I can see if it's altered and how much alteration was done to the lace front from 3:16 until the time she left. But yeah, this picture do look bad. Let's just keep it a buck. I don't think anyone will lie and say that hey, there's nothing wrong with this picture. This dude, and he looked like he got on a silk shirt too. Silk shirt, 3:18, 3:16 a.m. Hey, that person's not to be trusted. So I just wanted to put that out there so we could look at the photo so I could get y'all take on the photo before we jump back into this complaint. Man, you see how they dress, dude? Yeah, that's the coming in from the club. Yeah, 3:16. Yeah, that's probably coming in from the club or something. She all close. Like she close too. Like I love my wife, but I'd be like, man, why don't you back the hell up off me? Why you all up on me on the door? So yeah, definitely look like that image. That image, I'm just telling you, is giving definite uh soon to be clappage vibes, in my personal opinion. They fresh from IHOP and got some energy to burn. I know I do see a bag there too. I saw that. I was like, this I know this ain't a briefcase. This dude ain't got no legal briefs in there. It looked like a little food bag. So, club, then you go get something to eat, come home after doing all that dancing, after eating that nice triple stack of pancakes, that Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity, and then the next Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity. Next thing you know, So hey, the image do look bad. I do contend the image look bad, but hey, I just wanted y'all take on it. Now, all right, let's jump back into this complaint. Now that we got to the extortion part, all right, she gonna upload everything to YouTube because it's too big to send in the text message. All right, let's see. Appended to the text message was a photograph depicting the plaintiff in the company of another female, not his wife, taken by one of the cameras at Fowler's Airbnb home. Like Fowler, I think you petty for this, regardless of what the dude was doing at your place, right or wrong. I do think this is a big step too far. This is a bridge too far. And if I'm the judge looking at this, I can already think of a few claims that I think would be justified. All right, 2 days. The shakedown continues. Ooh, so okay, the text message went out, but apparently nothing was sent to the wife just yet. 2 days because they still in shakedown mode. 2 days later, on September 19th, 2022, Steph from Airbnb, apparently someone other than Charles, who had assured he would be handling the plaintiff case from now on, contacted the plaintiff through the Airbnb portal and informed the plaintiff that he now owed an additional $960. Yo, $960 fresh from Denny's. I never ate at Denny's in my life, man. They had the little racist thing back in the day. My O'Shea voice booty clapping sounds. All right, yeah, that's funny, but yeah, that's all. That's definitely probably what's about to go down just at that time. Let's keep it a buck. All right, so now plaintiff uh, was informed that he owed an additional $960 to Airbnb for the following: four additional guests. It's $20 times 2 nights. That's $160. Violating Rule 6, 250. Violating Rule 8. Additional fines included in the terms, 250. Fine for moderation of your review, $300. Total $950. Let me ask y'all real quick right now. If you knew you was and you seen this photo haven't gone to Teresa yet. It haven't gone to your wife yet. And they say, yo, you owe this $960. Would you just pay it in negotiation, hoping that they wouldn't send the photo, or would you tell them to kiss your ass? Like me, I'm a y'all gotta kiss my ass type of person. Like I'm not gonna be blackmailed. I'll just go and tell on myself. Fuck it. But would you just have paid it? Because the other thing too is, I'm just be honest. If he would have paid the if he would have paid the 950, somebody petty like this to do that, they probably gonna send it anyway. They gonna get the 950 and jack up everything. So I probably wouldn't have paid it in my personal opinion. I would have been like, you know what? Go ahead, send the damn photo. Do what you gotta do. It is what it is. All right, demand for 950 made by Airbnb on behalf of itself for a portion of the funds, $300, and on behalf of Fowler for the remaining enhanced sum of $650 was made by way of interstate internet transmission and in conjunction with the over extortion attempt made by Fowler below constitutes wire fraud. Interesting. Interesting. That's a yeah. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about it. I've never seen an argument for wire fraud in that context. But I definitely believe I had a gazillion wire fraud cases because all money is sent electronically. But I definitely believe that probably would be sufficient for attempted wire fraud. All right. The threats carried through to completion. Okay, this is with Teresa. Poor Teresa. She's just at home minding her business, trying to let her man go enjoy the game, and she gotta get caught up in this tomfoolery. The plaintiff refused to accede to the threats of extortion made by both Airbnb and Fowler. Shout out to him, Mr. Mackey. Shout out to you. I would have told him to kiss my ass too. As a result, in retaliation for his failure to comply with the monetary demands made by both defendants, Fowler set up a phony email account. Oh man, this is petty. This looked really bad. And if I was a judge on these facts, these are allegations. It's just a complaint. But I dust her ass up. Fowler set up a phony email account, apparently pretending to be the plaintiff with a deviant sexual internal reference. Sean 69 at outlook.com. Oh my God. Fuller set up a phony email account, apparently pretending to be the plaintiff with the deviant sexual internal reference, Sean69 at Outlook.com. That's hilarious. Like, yeah, I don't know what's funnier, the name or the fact that they use Outlook. Who the fuck use Outlook in 2024? You can use Gmail or anything. But okay, Sean69. Then on September 20th, 2022, Fuller sent the photograph to plaintiff wife at her place of employment through an email with the pretext subject, "I like your purse." Yo, okay, that's yo, that's fucked up. Yeah, that's fucked up. I think there's definitely a shitload of civil exposure there on those allegations, and I think what makes it worse is like it's one thing to send the stuff because that's still fucked up either way. But you send it, then you send it from a fake account. You send it from a fake account with all of these sidebar references as if you hadn't made the threat to send these things before. Like, nah, if I'm a judge, you lucky you ain't in front of Judge DFD because I'm gonna throw the book at your ass. Like that house you have for Airbnb, you might have to sell it to pay this dude back. Cause I mean, just the financial harm, if his marriage is over, you know the amount of damages she could be on the hook for here? That's fucking crazy. All right. Plaintiff included in his request for help. 2 days later on September, Airbnb. 2 days later on September 22nd, plaintiff contacted Airbnb and conveyed the threatened extortion attempt by Fowler to Airbnb in hopes of its help. Plaintiff included in his request for help from Airbnb the following: a copy of the text message between the plaintiff and Fowler, including her blatant threats to inform his wife, of the photos and videos, and her threats to post the videos on YouTube. All right, let's see what Airbnb said. Smart move by him to swipe up Airbnb too, because if the court finds that she's an employee and not a contractor, and I think in when you think about it, you would think like, oh, she's a contractor, right? Let me pull this back up. You would think she's a contractor initially. But like I said, courts determine if you're a contractor versus an employer by looking at factors. And for purposes of litigation, you want a person to be an employer. Why? Because the employer is responsible for the acts of the employee. That's why if somebody do something stupid, you sue them, and if they do it while they're on their job, you sue the employer as well, because that's where the big money is at. To determine if a person is an employer versus an independent contractor, the courts generally, I'm not going to get into detail, but they look at how much control in decision making does the employer have in the act of the person who they're trying to make a determination of being an employee or a contractor. The more control Airbnb has, how Fowler operates her business as an Airbnb, the more likely that she's going to be seen as an employee and not an independent contractor. It don't make a difference what Airbnb call it, because every job is going to be like, oh, you're an independent contractor, because they want to push themselves out of having any liability if you fuck up and do something stupid. All right. Airbnb responded, Pamela's text was threatening, uh, and Pamela defended Fowler's text was threatening and an attempt to extort. She assumed this would prevent me from pursuing my personal refund, filing a complaint. This is what he actually sent. Filing a complaint about the discrimination that occurred at the Airbnb and ensuring that I would pay the additional money she requested. I've been told that this behavior is criminal and therefore illegal, a violation of state and federal law and Airbnb policy. Pamela also sought out my wife's work email. That's fucked up. You send it at work, like, yo, like that got to be the worst place to get some news like that at work. That shit just fuck up your whole day. She sought out my wife's work email and emailed the photo uh, to her place of employment. She acted on her threats and extortion attempts, but I did not give in to her demands or responded as she had hoped to her text message. In addition to being unprofessional and maybe illegal, it certainly violates Airbnb privacy policy. Please refer to a copy of the email displaying a photo. Emphasis added. Okay. So far, so good. Instead of reacting as a decent person or even decent corporation would at such illegal, abhorrent, and evil conduct, Airbnb sided with its superhost, its co-defendant Fowler. Airbnb first response after being informed of the illegal conduct of Fowler was its communication in the portal on September 24th, 2022. In this communication, Airbnb never even recognized its co-conspirators' act of extortion. Instead, it merely refers to this illegal conduct as a very sensitive situation and as an inconvenience. The only remedy taken against the co conspirator was to put a note on the account. Instead, Airbnb repeatedly made demands for additional. I'm sorry, this is hilarious because it's always back to the money. We don't give a flying fuck that we about to ruin your life and you about to lose half of your shit. Instead, Airbnb repeatedly made demands uh, for additional payments to its co-conspirator Fowler and to itself, including additional threats to take further punitive action against the plaintiff. The actual knowledge of Airbnb of the extortion attempt of its superhost and its ratification of that extortion clearly demonstrate its active participation in the common scheme to extort monies from plaintiffs. Now, this is interesting because if she's a superhost, she probably been on Airbnb for a while, and it I would be shocked. This might not be the first time that something like this has happened. You know what I mean? It could be interesting if they really dive into discovery here because you think this is a funny ass story, but there's a lot of fucking money at issue here. I don't know what this guy's net worth is, but the fact that you can travel out of state to go to a football game with your boys. Probably, I'm assuming probably you're not piss poor broke. You know what I mean? Could be, but I seriously doubt it. But hey, divorce is like the number one sign of poverty in America is divorce. So with that being said, there's a lot of money on the line. A lot of emotional distress. Like, yo, his wife probably has a lawsuit for emotional distress. I mean, this is kind of crazy. And there's a lot of money at issue. All of the Airbnb portal communications, as well as the text messages and photos, were all transmitted by blah 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 blah. All right, the kickback. Okay, all right. We almost through the facts. It's the last part. The kickback. We almost through the facts, y'all. We almost about to get through this tomfoolery that's going on. As part of the scheme, Airbnb receives a portion of any fines it levies. Thus, it is in an Airbnb's best financial interest to find violations or side with the co-conspirator, superhost, and assess fines against renter. In this case, Airbnb demanded an additional $300 from the plaintiff for what it termed fine for moderation of your review. All right, the plaintiff merge has suffered as a result. I concur with that last sentence for sure. Okay, claim for relief. Okay, violation of the RICO Act. Defendant wrongfully and fraudulently acts violated the Federal Racketeering Influence and Corruption Act, the Civil RICO Act, that committed two or more predicate acts within a 10-year period, which constitute a pattern of racketeering activity through which the defendants are culpable. Uh, that that might be enough for on these facts that's being allegedly on these alleged facts. Hey, that might be enough for a civil RICO case. I've never seen it used in such a context before. Um, two or more predicate acts. The wire fraud and the extortion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he might have a valid claim there. All right, the enterprise under 18 USC 1962. The enterprise, for purposes of the allegation concerning the violations of blah blah blah, consisted of a associate, in fact, of defendants Airbnb Inc. Fowler for the purposes of conducting and participating in the conduct of an enterprise. Okay, that's not a big deal. That's just going after them. Culpable persons. Culpable persons, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go through all this RICO stuff. I'm trying to get to the claims. All right. Pattern of racketeering, private rights of action. Plaintiff has been uh, and continues to be injured in his business or property by virtue of the above intentional act of extortion under common law, the Defendants Act, I think that's valid. Invasion of privacy. Mississippi recognized an individual's right to privacy. The Mississippi Supreme Court has expressly held that plaintiffs can recover for both emotional and economic damages that has endorsed. Okay. Yep, I agree. Plaintiff has suffered economic damages, damage to his marriage, and emotional damages. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Definitely, that was the first one that came into my mind. Yeah, intentional conduct caused emotional distress. I think he has a claim for that. His wife, uh, Tarika, was it? Shout out Tarika. You're the only one who hadn't done anything in these dumbass facts. I think she has a claim for it. With breach of contract, yep, related to the Airbnb contract. I think that's another claim that easily stands out. Breach of covenant of good faith and fair dealing. Both Airbnb filer owe the plaintiff a duty of good faith and fair dealing by virtue of their contractual relationship. That's fair. Let's get down to punitive damages. Because punitive damages vary depending on what claim is being brought. Let's see, blah blah blah. I'm trying to see. Demand for a jury trial. All right, so let's talk about it before we get off here. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Um, One, I think that this dude has several valid claims. Breach of contract for breaching the Airbnb contract that was originally stated clearly. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. He has a claim for. His wife has a claim for. He can recover actual damages lost, but also punitive damages, which can be up to three times the actual damages. The damages can actually be astronomical if you consider I don't know what the state of this guy's marriage is, but if he gets a divorce, he's gonna have a big ass economic loss. The Rico matter was interesting. Wire fraud, I think, is a valid claim. Just based on I did a gazillion wire fraud cases. Rico, it appears to meet the elements. I've never seen it used in this context, but a civil Rico statute may be likely as well. I'm just gonna tell y'all this is probably gonna be summary judgment motion. Let me explain to y'all what summary judgment is, okay? When you have two parties who go to court, this guy's going to court, he put everything in his complaint asserting these facts. I don't think that the opposing party is going to argue against the facts. Like, what would they disagree about? I can't see any fact that they would disagree about. I didn't send the text messages. I didn't send the pictures. I didn't make this communication. All of the facts that this guy's asserting in this complaint can be substantiated through text messages, the Airbnb portal, and the whole nine. So, what a motion for summary judgment is when you got two parties in court. Party A says this happened. Party B says no, that didn't happen. If there's no genuine issue of material fact, that means we don't disagree on the facts. You say the facts are this, I say the facts are this. I'm just saying that I'm not guilty of this. If there's no dispute as to the facts of the case, most times, and it would behoove the defendant to find the fact that they dispute. But if there's no disputing of the facts, these are the facts that happen, and I agree that these are the facts that happen. I just didn't commit these particular crimes that are being alleged. But if there's no issue of material fact, the court can rule on a motion for summary judgment. That means that nobody go to trial. They just look at who is legally right. So if that was the case, a summary judgment would mean that the same facts that this guy's alleging, the defendant agreed to the facts. The defendant agreed that the advertisement was posted as evidence shows. The defendant agrees that the communication occurred as the evidence showed. The defendant agreed that there's nothing here that the defendant can't deny. The defendant can't even deny that I didn't send the email from Sean69 at outlook.com, because who else had access to the fucking pictures? So the defendant really, I'm just be honest, the defendant can't deny any of the facts that he is certain. So the court don't even have to go to a trial. They can just do a motion, rule on a motion for summary judgment. We all know and agree that the evidence showed the facts of this. So we're just going to rule on the law. And if that's the case, Airbnb and Mrs. Fowler, their ass is going to be in a lot of trouble and probably end up losing a lot of money. I would be shocked, but I'm gonna keep a tab on this to see how it go. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Hey, I think unequivocally, whether you agree or disagree with the infidelity, I think everybody, I don't know. I'm gonna say 90% of people are going to agree that, hey, Fowler's, hey, she went too goddamn far. Okay, like yo, try to get the money. Give him a bad review. You got a whole other bunch of recourses, but making threats, fake email accounts, doing things to interfere with some shit you just don't fuck with, in my personal opinion. I don't think most people are going to disagree that she went too damn far. Jamie, hey, your wife was bugging, and now she about to make your household lose a lot of money. So money is always the case. That's how I go. This lawsuit costs money. Airbnb look like they may be on the verge of losing some money. Fowler gonna be losing some money. Fowler husband Jamie's gonna be losing some money because he married a woman who make bad decisions apparently, or he couldn't talk her down, or I don't know if he knew what the fuck was going on or not. The guy, Mackey, is about to lose some money to plaintiff because if he gets a divorce, you could just cut his assets in half. It's a big shit show going on. The bottom line of the story is, hey, you want to do the right thing, and if you're doing the wrong thing, make sure you're doing the wrong thing in a way where people can't call you on it. Yo, that's it for this video. I appreciate y'all tuning in this early morning. There's a lot of cussing and shit on here, but I appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all make sure, if y'all not working today, enjoy your day off, enjoy your time off, be safe until the next one. And if you enjoyed this, check out the content on the screen. There's more content related to finances and attorney reactions. Peace.